Hello guys and welcome to Maximal Fire. I'm Alex.
And I'm Johnny.
And today we're playing 3,000 points Legions Imperialis matched play.
Hell yeah.
There is a lot riding on today. This is our first battle report for Legions Imperialis ever. It's also been a long time and things have changed a lot since the days of, I think it was 2022 when we did like our original Adeptus Titanicus
battle reports. Yes, we've got whole new shooting location and all the gear out the wazoo.
No idea
Whatsoever. It will be, be happy if you see this, because the first one we tried, we got a good way through, and then it all went pear-shaped. So very, very excited though. We're going to be playing forward push today. So as you can see from the top-down cameras, we have a short edge deployment, so a long trek for the Dark Mechanicum and Legio Tritonis contingent to slog their way up and hopefully grab some objectives from the fortified city.
Yes. So in push forward, we have 6 objectives. We have 2 close to our deployment, 2 in no man's land, and 2 in our enemy's deployment. We get 3 points for holding an objective close to us. We get 5 for the ones in the middle, and if we're able to get over to our opponent's side, we are scoring a massive 9 points per objective that we're holding. So a lot of points to be played for, really encouraging people, and well, really encouraging both of us to be pushing as far up the board as possible. This is going to be a very interesting battle report because we all know that the Dark Mechanicum, very, very mobile, very, very agile, whereas Imperial Fists, not known so much for their speed. They like
temerity,
they like to kind of hang around in buildings, but that's why the White Scars have joined them today. So it is going to be an interesting game. We hope that you guys like the format. Please leave us some comments as to what you think of how it looks. This is very much kind of a first go, let's say stripped back. We're trying to start simple. Like when we were looking to do this, I was like, we should do this, we should do that, and Johnny was, no, stop it. You are overcomplicating the battle report.
Puts the 2 other cameras back in the cupboard.
So we're going to see how this goes today, but do leave us your feedback. Let us know if there's anything in particular you'd like to see if we do this again in the future. And we hope that you enjoy what is about to happen. Right, so let's talk about the formations in play today. Johnny, do you want to tell us what the Dark Mechanicum are bringing?
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so we are starting with the Swarm Protocol cohort. This is consisting of 3 units of 8 Harpax Swarmers. This allows them to do some sneaky stuff like infiltrating up the board. Going to be quite useful for getting some board control early on in the game, while the rest of my force lugs its way up the quite long distance. I don't know whether we mentioned it before. We are playing on a 6x4, so slightly larger than the usual 5x4. This is just a preference thing more than anything. We're using 3,000 points. So
gives us a bit more room to manoeuvre. We've also expanded slightly the deployment zones to account for that change in board size.
Exactly. Now each one of the Harpax Swarmers in this cohort have the new spheric control upgrade. This will essentially allow them to hopefully pin some tanks in place if they get any early game charges off. Sadly, can't charge turn 1 anymore from infiltrate. A much needed change, one that makes me infinitely sad nonetheless. Next we have the Terror Protocol cohort. This is consisting of, the stars of the list really for the most part. 2 units of 4 erupts Butchers. So these are our melee spaghetti monsters.
My personal favourites, not.
Yeah, the +6 calf monsters that just love doing a lot of damage. So hopefully I'm going to be getting those nice and early up the board and
hopefully not
dissuading you from doing the same. Let's just say, and with them as well, they have 3 Scintillax HQ spider bots. They are essentially there to fill out the requisite. They also, if they are activated, they give everything else in the cohort a bit of a speed boost, a 2 inch.
Yeah, it makes them very, very scary.
They're already very fast as well, and that 2 inches when you're doing stuff like I was going to say full stride, a march order, it actually doubles that as well. It counts on their base characteristics. So really, really handy to have. With that as well, we have a compulsory another unit of 8 Harpax Swarmers as well. We also have the Purge Protocol cohort. This is our heavy assault cohort.
Very heavy.
Very heavy assault cohort. So we are taking 2 units of 4 Cerberos heavy stalkers. One of these units of 4 are equipped with the storm laser arrays and las cutters, and the other unit of 4 is equipped with the exoplanar bombards and irradiation engines. With them, there are 2 units of 4 archer Tenebrax stalker units. Each one of them is equipped with the Volkite upgrade, or the slug upgrade as well. And then to add on to the Purge as well, they are bringing along with them a Warlord Titan from the Legio Tritonis. This is armed with a Macro Gatler, a Sun Fury Plasma Annihilator, and a pair of twin Apocalypse missile launchers. And finally, to round out the list,
because it wasn't scary enough.
Because it wasn't scary enough already. It turns out that Tritonis have offered up another one of their Titans. The Warbringer Nemesis Titan is making its way into this list, and this is just part of a Legio support strategic asset, so essentially an ally detachment. Yeah. So quite a mix of of kind of play here. We've got some big shooty Titans backing up some quite close range but fast moving spider bots, essentially.
Is it fair to say that you're hoping that your Harpax will do a lot of the objective control for you? It's a very vehicle and Titan heavy list.
Yes.
Not much in the way of infantry.
No.
So it's very, very difficult to control.
Mm-hmm.
But there's going to be a lot of expectation, I think, on holding those objectives.
Definitely.
With the
just get the with sticky objectives in this game, just to get the a couple of them flipped early on, even if the units die, can just those extra few points you get on the first round, because it is first round scoring in this, can really make a difference in games. So yeah, what are you bringing to see off these unholy machine?
Is
spirit?
Hiding in my fortifications an option here,
I mean,
Johnny?
that's just goes as standard with Imperial Fists, doesn't it?
Fighting words.
Oh yes.
Yes. So on the loyalist side, we have the stalwart Imperial Fists at the core. We have a demi company, the good old tried and trusted demi company, consisting of a Legion command in a Rhino, 2 tactical squads, upgraded with some missile launchers, again also in Rhinos. And then we also have brought some of the new models. We've got 2 Mastodons, and within the Mastodons we have a full 8 stack of Terminators and 4 Leviathan Dreadnoughts. So trying to make the most of these new rules and these new super heavies for Imperial Fists. The second formation I've taken is an armoured company. We have a Kratos commander with 3 additional Kratos. He's sporting, well, they're all sporting the battle cannon option, the Kratos battle cannon option with las cannons, and we also have some predators. We have 7 las cannon heavy predators. My personal favourite.
All las cannons, yeah.
All
the
las
only
cannons.
way you should take predators, in our humble opinion.
And we have 4 Sakarans with just the normal Sakaran autocannons. And we have 2 Xiphon Interceptors, adding a little bit of air support because you don't have any air, so I will be controlling the skies. And finally, again, a couple more new units. We are bringing a detachment of 2 Falchions. So I'm hoping that the shock pulse ability might help me when it comes to controlling the speed of some of your units, restricting the number of weapons that they can fire, and hopefully stripping a few void shields. We'll see what happens. Then we have our third formation. We have the brave Kargan forces of the White Scars. We have the Chagorian Warband iconic formation. Lots of Jetbikes, land speeders, and javelins. Painted these up recently, had to get them on the board because I just love them. They think they look great, and they will hopefully offer me a good deal of mobility. I think because everything else is quite slow, I'm going to be relying on these guys to press forwards early and see if I can try and contest some of those objectives. And last but not least, I too have also brought some Legio support. This time from the Legio Gryphonicus, we have a mighty Warmaster Titan. So, big reputation on these guys. We will see if they certainly live up to that reputation.
There's a couple of very big guns I'm very scared of.
Yeah. So, with that said, I think let's get into it and let's start round one.
Oh yeah. Johnny wins the initiative at the start of the first round, and one unit of erupts butchers advances up the battlefield. The White Scars Scimitar Jetbikes surge forward. As they pass the upper central objective, they fire their point defense bolters into the Harpax swarmers, destroying one base. In response, a detachment of Cerberos heavy stalkers lumbers through the snow haze, meeting the White Scars Scimitar riders head-on. A second unit of Jetbikes surges from behind the walls, using its point defense bolters to cut down 3 Harpax swarmer bases at the lower central objective. Attempting to counter the Jetbike advance, a unit of Harpax swarmers emerges from a nearby building and charges into the White Scars' flank. Alex advances the pair of falchions, seeking an angle on the Warlord Titan. The second unit of Arax advance up the battlefield, navigating the difficult terrain with ease thanks to their agile rule. A unit of land speeders repositions behind the walls. The rear unit of Harpax swarmers marches up the centre of the battlefield. The pair of Mastodons use their march order to plug the breach in the lower section of the wall. They fire into the Harpax swarmers holding objective A, but fail to land any hits. They then disgorge their lethal payloads of Leviathan Dreadnoughts and Legion Terminators. One unit of Scintillax HQ marches forward, taking cover behind the advancing Erax Butchers. A unit of Rhinos advance, pulling up behind the lower section of the wall and disembarking the tactical marines within. The other unit of Scintillax HQ move forwards, taking cover beside the upper right objective. The Kratos tanks advance forwards, pulling up alongside the falchions. The archer constructs scuttle forward, seeking shots on the White Scars bikers. The unit of predators advances on the lower left objective. The second unit of archer constructs advance atop the landing platform. The unit of Sakarans bolster the predators on the lower left objective. The second unit of Cerberos heavy constructs advances forwards. The earth shakes as the Warmaster Titan lumbers slowly through the city. Sensing the challenge of the enemy princeps, the Warlord Titan advances forward in kind. The disembarked tactical marines garrison the lower bastion wall. The damaged detachment of Harpax swarmers charges into the melee forming in the breach at the lower wall. In response, the Leviathan Dreadnoughts countercharge into the Harpax swarm. With Johnny electing to pass his final activation, keeping the swarmers secure on the top central objective, Alex activates again, charging the Terminators into the melee unfolding around the bottom central objective. The other unit of Rhinos advances,
the tactical marines within disembarking and immediately garrisoning a section of the central bastion wall. A unit of White Scar's javelins then advances over the wall. However, their point defense bolters are out of range of the garrisoned Harpax swarmers holding the upper central objective. Finally, at the end of the movement phase, 2 Xiphon interceptors enter the battlefield, seeking out high priority targets within the swarm of Dark Mechanicum constructs. Starting the combat phase with a first fire order, the Legio Tritonis Warbringer fires its Mori Quake Cannon, destroying 3 Predator tanks. It then targets the Mastodons with its Volcano Cannons, stripping 2 Void Shields but leaving them otherwise unharmed. Entering the engagement stage, the massed melee at the lower wall breach sees heavy losses on both sides. The Loyalists lose 4 stands of Jetbikes and 1 stand of Terminators, but in return cut down 6 Harpax Swarmer stands, leaving just 2 remaining in the unit. Melee continues as the Leviathan Dreadnoughts destroy 2 Harpax Swarmer stands, taking no losses in return. Surprisingly, by the end of both combats, no models remain engaged on either side. Kicking off the advancing fire stage, a unit of Serperos Heavy Stalkers unleashes its exoplanar bombards upon the White Scar's Jetbikes at the top of the battlefield, killing 3 models. The Xiphon interceptors fire their las cannons and missiles into a unit of Stalker constructs, destroying 2. Scuttling over the wrecks of their fellow constructs, the archers unleash their Storm Laser Flensers upon the White Scar's Jetbikes, killing 2 more models. The javelins fire into the Serperos constructs, stripping 5 shields and leaving 3 remaining. The Warlord Titan fires its Sun Fury Plasma Annihilator into the Jetbikes, killing 2 stands. Its Macro Gatling blasters then rake the sky, shooting down a Xiphon interceptor. Finally, it unleashes its Apocalypse missile launchers into the falchion.
4, 6, 8, 10.
What's the AP?
-1. Ooh, that's a good roll.
Fuck, that's
Oh,
9.
that's a
isn't it?
good roll.
9?
9 out of
It's going
10.
to be a bad
-1 for your,
freeze.
boys.
We're not going to see any super heavy action. I don't think.
No. Or you're going to pass every fucking save.
The falchions reply in turn, firing their shock pulse weapons into the central Serperos unit, stripping 2 shields and leaving it with 1 remaining. With Johnny out of units able to fire, Alex continues by activating a unit of tactical marines on the central wall, firing their missile launchers into the Harpax swarmers below, killing 1 stand. Subsequently, the other unit of tactical marines fires their missile launchers into the leading unit of Harpax, completely wiping it out. The Kratos battle tanks attempt to fire upon the Harpax holding the upper central objective, but their las cannon shots miss.
The big bad boy has fired his 2 turbo laser destructors and his Revelator missile downwind to the Serperos in the middle. The Revelator scattered slightly, but he still managed to get, how many hits was it? 4 hits, I believe, onto the Serperos. and then 3 hits, another 4 hits from the turbo lasers. He took 1 of the turbo laser hits against the final construct, and then the rest of the damage saw off 2 of them and left 1 on a witness, so pretty successful. Roll of dice. So pretty brutal round 1. As with all things, the first round quite often takes the most amount of time. Few significant gains here and there though. It's not looking quite so bleak in the middle as I was fearing it would be, with my counter charging in the middle, managing to get most of your Harpax off of that objective. You still control D though, so...
Still control D. Didn't take the bait for chasing down those Jetbikes. Managed to shoot most of them off the board.
Yeah.
Which will be good for just keeping control of my backfield objectives, which I'm most worried about. As a lot of my army, I think, is going to be pushing forwards and trying to break into the city and get those higher scoring objectives in or near Alex's deployment zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very kind of a. I don't think it was one-sided either way.
Fairly even, wasn't it?
Fairly even first turn. I mean, we've both ended with 11 victory points each on the first round. So that's that's a good sign that we're not completely thrashing one person or the other. Some insane rolling. We had that those crazy shots with the Apocalypse missile launchers that both 9 out of 10 hits and then 9 out of 9 saves, right?
Yeah.
Which is insane. Even with a free up, statistically that still would have been.
The odds were astronomical, really. I mean, I was quite glad that happens because we wanted to kind of highlight the Falchion a little bit.
We did. I probably shouldn't have shot them, but also I didn't want them to kill my warlord.
No,
so there's 2 wolves inside of me. One of them wants to make a good YouTube video, and one of them wants to beat Alex.
Yeah. But no, they survived. Glad they did, because they actually then came in and got a shot off against your Serperos, which has, as well as them taking a real battering from the Warmaster, they're now also moving half and can only shoot one of their weapons from the shock pulse trait. So pretty useful.
Yeah, down 2 of my bigger spider bots. So that was a pretty sore sting. Not that they're massively impacting on the game, but they do have some quite nice weapons.
They do.
We will see
how
round 2 goes. Yeah.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Not too much luck.
Winning the initiative roll, Alex begins the second round by charging his Leviathan Dreadnoughts into one of the units of Erax at the lower central objective. In response, Johnny charges the other unit of Erax Butchers into the Legion Terminators. Alex elects to expend his first fire token on one of the units of Tactical Marines garrisoning the walls, and they fire their missile launchers as Overwatch into the charging Erax Butchers, removing 2 construct shields. The unit of Jetbikes banks right, advancing to the centre of the board and firing its point defence weapons at the Harpax Swarmers, killing 1. With their movement speed halved due to the shock pulse weapons of the Falchions, the Serperos Heavy Stalkers lumber forward a measly 3.5 inches. The unit of Landspeeders advances over the upper wall. The other unit of Serperos Heavy Stalkers have advanced to meet them head on. The other unit of Scimitar Jetbikes ride forth, seeking to harry and harass the Harpax Swarmers that are, at the moment, exposed in the middle of the board. The damaged unit of Tenebrax Archers advances. The Falchions reposition at the gate, seeking cover from the weapons of the Warlord Titan. The other unit of archers advance, supporting the exposed Harpax swarmers. The pair of mastodons advance out of the wall breach, making space for the tank detachments behind. A unit of Scintillax HQ have moved into better cover around the bottom right objective. The unit of Kratos repositioned to get a better angle out of the gate. The other unit of Scintillax HQ advance forwards. One of the Rhino detachments hard turns out of the gate, firing its point defense bolters at the Harpax swarmers around the middle lower objective, which finishes off the unit. The central unit of Harpax swarmers advances forwards, garrisoning a nearby building. At half speed, due to the effects of the Warbringer's Mori Quake Cannon, the Predators move forwards towards the breach. The Warlord Titan of Legio Tritonis advances forwards. The Legion Terminators pile into the erupts butchers. The Harpax garrisoning the building next to the upper central objective charge out into the land speeders. The other detachment of Rhinos advances from behind the wall, firing its point defense bolters into the Harpax controlling the middle building, killing 3. With Johnny out of activations, Alex finishes off this movement phase by moving the mighty Warmaster Titan and by moving the quaked Sakarans. Alex first fires the unit of tactical marines on the central wall into a unit of Harpax swarmers, killing 1. Johnny first fires his Warbringer Titan into the unit of Predators and Sakarans. However, it scatters and only kills 1 Sakaran. After firing the Mori Quake Cannon, the Warbringer fires its Volcano Cannons at the unit of Predators, killing 1. The engagement stage begins at the lower wall breach, where a unit of Erax Butchers begins slaughtering its way through the White Scars Bikers, almost completely wiping out the detachment. Support arrives in the form of Imperial Fist Legion Terminators, who manage to kill 2 Erax Butchers. Moving to the engagement on the landing pads, the Leviathan Dreadnoughts of the Imperial Fists go head to head with more Erax Butchers, doing 1 wound to each construct and taking none in return. At the upper centre of the battlefield, a brutal combat between some Harpax swarmers and some Chagorian bikers leaves both units decimated, with the White Scars bikers wiped out. Moving into the advancing fire stage, the unit of Jetbikes at the centre of the battlefield fire their las cannons at the Scintillax HQ stalkers, stripping 3 of their construct shields. The Warlord Titan of Legio Tritonis fires both its Apocalypse missile launchers and its Macro Gatling blaster at the Kratos tanks. However, it only scores 1 wound. The surviving Xiphon Interceptor fires at the Scintillax HQ, removing the last construct shield and wounding one of the Stalkers. The damaged unit of Cerberos Heavy Stalkers unleashes its Storm Laser arrays against the White Scars Bikers at the centre of the board, killing all but one. This leaves only 2 White Scars models left on the board. The Warmaster Titan begins its activation by firing its Revelator missile at the unit of Scintillax HQ, missing entirely. It follows up by firing its Suzerain Plasma Destructors at the same unit of Scintillax HQ, completely annihilating it. Finally, it fires its Turbo Laser Destructors at the Warlord Titan, removing 2 shields. The Harpax Swarmers in the centre building fire their exoplanar repeaters at the last Javelin Speeder, destroying it. The unit of Kratos at the main gate fire their cannons at the surviving Cerberos Heavy Stalkers in the centre of the board, destroying 1. A pair of Tenebrax Archer constructs point their Storm Laser Flensers at the sky, missing all shots against the surviving Xiphon Interceptor. The Falchions fire at the last surviving Cerberos at the centre of the board, destroying it. The full-strength unit of Tenebrax Archers fires upon the unit of Rhinos ahead of it, destroying 3 and causing the survivors to fall back into the city. With Alex passing, Johnny activates again, firing his Cerberos Heavy Stalkers into the surviving White Scars Jetbikes, destroying them. And with that, the combat phase ends. During the end phase of the round, the retreating Rhinos manage to rally from within the city.
Okay, end of round 2, and this is where stuff has started to really get a bit bloody.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, the brave White Scars have all but vanished from the battlefield after really acting as, well, for what they would. They held you back,
Yeah.
really.
You know that scene in the final season of Game of Thrones where they send all of the Dothraki horsemen out to the zombies and they just get eaten? That's
basically they did White Scars things.
They did, yeah, it's very thematic.
And the Imperial Fists are doing Imperial Fist things.
Mm-hmm. There's like one base of bikes left fighting.
One guy there
erupts.
who isn't engaged at the moment, so
No?
he can actually move and do whatever the hell he likes. But yeah, no, very, very bloody. Had a good old scrap in the middle. The Leviathans really sort of stuck into your Erax over there and did a lot of damage. But your Erax down here chewed through a significant amount of White Scars, didn't they? But I did take 2 with me, which obviously is a big
win.
A big win, considering how good they are in close combat. A few shots were traded with the Warlord. A couple of shields went down. 4 shields went down. 2 were recovered in the end phase, and the Warmaster did some stuff. Did some stuff.
Has completely wiped out some units of stalkers.
Yeah, the Scintillax, which were on my side of the board, were taken out, as were the remaining Cerberos. That was a combined effort between a lot of things, but Yeah, bloody round 2. We're still even on points, both still holding the same objectives.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting turn 3, and I think it's going to be tight.
Yeah, it's going to get real close. Stuff is going to start speeding up as we're really kind of just running out of game pieces.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Let's see what round 3 has to hold.
Let's go.
All right.
Kicking off round 3's movement phase, Johnny moves the Harpax Swarmers onto the upper section of wall. Alex advances his Kratos through the open gate. A pair of archer constructs advance, moving to secure the upper middle objective. A detachment of tactical marines leave the safety of the lower wall and embark in their Rhino transports. A pair of Erax butchers break from the combat with the Legion Terminators, charging through the wall breach and entering combat with the Predators and Sakarans. Alex attempts to point defense with the Sakarans, however they only strip one construct shield. Alex charges with the Legion Terminators, following the Erax butchers into the breach. The Scintillax HQ charge into the Leviathan Dreadnoughts, attempting to help the Erax in their combat. The pair of falchions rumble forward, emerging from behind the gate. In response, the Serpros heavy constructs advance to meet the falchions head-on. The detachment of Rhinos advances, disembarking the tactical marines within and threatening the objective on the bottom right-hand side of the board. Hoping to put their storm laser flensers to good use, the unit of archer constructs advances to meet the tactical marines head-on. The other detachment of Rhinos move through the city, hoping to reinforce the upper left objective. The Warlord Titan advances behind the Serpros heavy stormers. The last surviving White Scar Jetbike zips across the battlefield, hoping to threaten the upper right objective. Harpax Swarmers in a nearby building attempt to fire Overwatch, however, all their shots miss. The pair of Mastodons advance onto the middle lower objective, hoping to screen it from any opportunistic units. With Johnny passing on the movement phase, Alex shuffles the Warmaster towards the upper left objective. And to cap off the movement phase, the Xiphon Interceptor arrives on the board at the upper left objective. The Warbringer Titan kicks off the first fire stage by firing its Mori Quake Cannon at the unit of Kratos and Falchions. Although it was a direct hit, the tank's heavy armour allowed them to emerge unscathed. The Titan then fired off its 2 volcano cannons at the Falchions, this time rendering them to molten goo. Next up, the tactical marines on the central wall section first fire their missile launchers at the Harpax sheltering in the building directly ahead of them. Although rolling terribly, the Imperial Fist reroll ability allowed him to wipe out the rest of the unit. Going into the engagement stage, we start with the combat at the lower wall breach. Despite being heavily outnumbered, the Erax Butchers managed to chew through multiple tanks and Terminators before suffering one loss of their own. then turn to the combat at the landing pads, with the Erax Butchers going head-to-head against the Leviathan Dreadnoughts. With help from the Scintillax HQ, the Erax managed to destroy one Leviathan Dreadnought. However, they suffer 3 losses in return, leaving just 1 model left in the unit. Moving into the advancing fire stage, the Warlord Titan fires its full complement of weapons at the unit of Kratos, destroying 2 tanks. The 2 surviving Kratos fire at the Cerberus Heavy Stalkers, stripping 7 of their 8 construct shields. The Archer constructs fire at the unit of tactical marines threatening the bottom right objective. However, they only managed to kill 2 bases. In a desperate attempt to stop the garrisoned Harpax from controlling the upper left objective, the Warmaster Titan fires its suzerains against the wall section, destroying it and the Harpax within. The Warmaster then fires its Revelator missile and the turbo laser destructors at the Cerberus ahead of the Warlord Titan, removing the rest of the construct shields and wounding one of them. The 2 archers by the upper central objective activate next, firing their storm laser flensers at the Azython interceptor, destroying it. The pair of Mastodons fire at the Scintillax currently engaged with the Leviathan Dreadnoughts, removing 1 construct shield. The 1 Cerberus Heavy Stalker in range fires its exoplanar bombard at the Kratos battle tanks, failing to cause any wounds. The recently disembarked tactical squad fires their crack missiles at the Archer constructs, managing to cause a wound. The last surviving Predator tank fires its las cannons point blank at the Erax in the wall breach. However, it fails to cause any damage. At the end of the round, both Titans fail to recover any shields.
A very, very bloody end of turn 3.
You could say explosive, maybe.
Highly explosive. Quite a lot of stuff happened in that turn. Unfortunately for myself, my lovely falchions finally bit the bullet as they took 2 volcano cannon shots direct to the face from the Warbringer, who I've not had anything close enough to be able to shoot it. That thing has done great work at the back, just raining in long range hits against me.
I'm really happy with the output of the big cannon, the Quake cannon.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't kill anything, the Quake effects are
Slows you down.
Quite good,
Yeah.
slowing you down, making it harder for you to shoot.
Yeah.
Obviously, you are shooting the shit out of me this game, so
Trying to.
You're trying to, yeah. So it's good to be able to nullify that slightly. I'm a bit scared at the moment. You've got a last ditch group of Imperial Fists in their rhinos that are taking a note out of the White Scars book.
They're desperately trying to push forward for an objective. It's very much still in the balance here at the moment, isn't it? Because the objectives still haven't changed hands.
No.
You've got your butcher, which is pushing on one of my objectives up here. I'm hoping I've got enough there to deal with him. Your objective there remains uncontested, but like you say, my Imperial Fists hopefully closing in on it. My Mastodons are securing my objective here, which I've had most of the game.
Yep.
The Leviathans, though, well, they are really punching above their weight at the moment. They have taken out all but one
erupts. Butcher, yeah.
Yeah, they've been doing some good work. And on this side, again, they haven't changed hands at all.
No.
I have one lone solitary White Scar Jetbike. The Chagorian Warband has taken an absolute beating and have thrown themselves against the wall of fire from these Dark Mechanicum spider bots. I think they've done their job.
They've done their job. They've drawn a lot of fire. They have been a constant
nuisance.
The danger of them getting into my backfield objectives, especially in a mission like this, where the objectives in my deployment are worth more to my opponent than they are to me. I think it's made it quite difficult to fully commit to moving everything up.
Yeah.
And as Dark Mechanicum, their longest range band for actually, one of the stalkers or one of the spider bots is what, 22, 25, something like that from the archer. So I need to be moving forwards with those, but having to kind of play a little bit cagier, knowing that those white scars could come biking up the center of the board and causing chaos.
But they are now quite severely hampered in the fact that there's only one of them left.
Yeah.
But that formation is broken, as is, I believe, my armoured company. Now that I've lost the falchions, I've lost all my air support as well. They were taken out by the archers. So I have two broken formations on my side, which is not ideal.
No.
However, the Warmaster very much trying to hold the line here. He made a desperate gamble to stop some Harpaks from being in a very good position for stealing the objective by turning both of his suzerains on the fortification itself. We are playing these as proper fortifications.
Yeah, the highest defensive level of structure you can find in the game. It just goes to show the Warmaster can absolutely annihilate it quite easily. And with my Harpaks on a 6-up save base,
when it collapsed,
they did not have a chance.
No.
But it's good though, very very good. It has opened up a big section of the wall, which may present some opportunities for me in the future.
Could do.
Now that pesky flyer has been luckily, from a very lucky shot from a couple of surviving archers, has been taken out of the sky. Hopefully I can move up that flank and maybe nab a backfield objective.
I must admit, I think the Titans in this game have done very well.
Yes.
I've been a little bit dubious about how Titans work. Certainly in the way that we're playing this, when it's lengthways rather than widthways.
Yes.
I think that the Titans have really come into their own, especially yours with the Apocalypse missile launchers, the Mori Quake cannon and the Volcano cannons. You can just pour fire in and I am well out of the way.
Exactly.
There's been very little fire traded between, against any Titans really, and it's not for really want of trying. It's just nothing is in range. I think your Warhound's taken a few hits, but that was more because we kind of could.
Yeah. He's got 2 lost void shield saves. I'm not sweating yet.
No, out of 8.
Out of 8, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. I think this game is going to end up, unless units start dying very very quickly, I don't think the Titans are going to be going down. With what's left, unless the Warmaster gets very lucky with some shooting against the Warlord. But it's been very good. It's been a very, this is what we always say about LI, isn't it? That the first turn or two, or the first round or two, are very slow, very methodical, very cagey, and then suddenly it just kind of goes into chaos. Stuff starts dying.
It's all to play for.
And it is all to play for.
Let's see what happens in turn 4.
Alex wins the initiative roll-off for round 4 and charges his rhinos into the Tenebrax archers, completely blocking them from the bottom right objective. In response to this, the last surviving butcher at the landing pads charges into the tactical marines. They attempt to fire Overwatch, but fail to score any hits. Alex moves the Warmaster Titan on top of the upper left objective, utilising its size to stop the archers that are currently on march orders from late game scoring. Dissuaded from the upper wall breach, the archers march through the gate, attempting to find an angle on the objective. The last surviving predator at the lower wall breach charges into the lone Erax butcher. The remaining Cerberos heavy stalkers move onto the upper middle objective. The pair of rhinos continue to race through the city, supporting the Warmaster Titan on the upper left objective. The archers engaged with the rhinos at the bottom right objective pile into the combat. The Legion Tactical Marine Squad on the central wall section fall back into the city, garrisoning a nearby building. The damaged Scintillax HQ pile into the combat with the Leviathan Dreadnoughts. With Johnny passing on the rest of the movement phase, Alex quickly completes his remaining activations, starting with the Sicaris, which advance up the city. The Legion Terminators then pile into the combat with the lone Erax at the wall breach. The Tactical Marines on the landing pads pile into the other lone Erax. Alex thinks twice about moving the Mastodons off the lower central objective, and instead elects to move the last surviving White Scars biker, attempting to sneak past the Warlord Titan and capture the upper right objective. Kicking off the first fire stage, the surviving pair of Kratos fire into the Cerberos heavy constructs. Destroying 2 of them. Unfortunately for the lone White Scars biker, the Warlord Titan activates its first fire order, firing its Ardex defense weapons and removing the last White Scars model from the board, and more importantly, keeping the upper right objective safe. It then trains its Sun Fury Plasma Annihilator on the pair of Kratos, destroying one of the tanks. Meanwhile, its Macro Gatling Blaster strips the shields from the pair of Mastodons and wounds one of them. Finally, the city shakes as the Apocalypse missile launchers fire at the building occupied by the Tactical Marine Squad. The building is damaged, but it does not fall. Coordinating with its fellow Princeps, the Warbringer Titan uses its first fire order and unloads its entire complement of weapons on the pair of Mastodons. The Mori Quake Cannon doesn't do any damage, but its Volcano Cannons annihilate the tanks. The engagement stage begins once again at the lower wall breach. Against all odds, the last surviving Predator tank rams into the lone Erax, destroying it and gaining 6 points on his license. We then move over to the engagements on the landing pads. Unsurprisingly, the Leviathan dreadnoughts have torn through 2 more of the Scintillax HQ. However, a lucky draw means that one survives, locking the Leviathans in place. The other lone Erax's fate is little better, having killed 1 stand of tactical marines before being heroically brought down by the Imperial Fists. The final melee takes place between the archer constructs and the rhino tanks that are currently threatening the bottom right objective. The rhino tanks manage to take 1 construct down, but suffer 2 losses in return and fail their morale check. The Warmaster activates next, firing its Anvilus defense batteries, its Revelator missile, and its Suzerain plasma destructors at the unit of Cerberos heavy stalkers, controlling the upper middle objective. This wipes out the rest of the unit. It then turns its turbo laser destructors to the Warlord Titan, stripping 2 more void shields, bringing it to 4 remaining. At the landing pads, the archer constructs activate next, turning their storm laser flensers on the infantry threatening Johnny's broadside objective. However, the Imperial Fist tactical marines survived a withering amount of firepower and passed their morale, after being reduced to just 2 stands. The Sicarans within the city fire at the archers that have breached the gate. Dealing 1 wound. With Johnny out of activations, Alex activates the tactical marines in the building and fires the missile launchers at the same archers, finishing the wounded construct. At the end of the round, the Warlord Titan recovers 2 void shields.
End of round 4, and there is not a lot left.
Oh, no.
What happens here then? So we again, the Warmaster really holding down this flank on his own over here, took out the remaining Cerberos, combined with some first fire action from the, at the time, 2 Kratos there, managed to get rid of the Cerberos. That's a little bit of a relief. Unfortunately, I've still got this 1 rogue archer here who refuses to die despite me bringing in some Sicarans and some missile launchers to try and take him out. I'm hoping I've got enough going on here that I should be able to fend him off. Bloody fight over the objectives on the side there, though.
Crazy, yeah. Both Erax, both in the breach and in the actual difficult terrain area over here, the landing pads. Ate shit and died, I think is an accurate description of that one. They just did not, the dice did not go their way, even with a huge +6 CAF. However, the archers had a 1v1 with the rhinos. Only lost 1 archer, and we managed to kill enough of the rhinos that they started driving away, and the objective there in my home field is now safe again.
Still under your control, and more importantly as well, despite the fact that my tactical squad had taken care of the butcher which had charged them to stop them from claiming the objective, they have been mauled by the archers because they were on advancing fire orders.
Exactly. Some bad rolls there, but enough damage to kind of leave the infantry squad on like 2 bases. Like, really, they should have probably died, but honestly, I'm quite happy with taking them down to that few, because that kind of makes them not as worthwhile to score objectives.
Staring down the barrel of a massive Warbringer Titan as well.
Of course, yeah.
So I think that it's going to be tough to take that objective. We will have to see what happens. Frustratingly, though, although they're still performing well, the Leviathans, didn't take that last one out. We had a drawn combat at the end, which meant that I still am not free to do anything over there. But my objective back here is safe again, and we're all tied up 44-44 still.
We lost 2 Mastodons as well.
Oh yeah, the 2 Mastodons blown away by the Warlord.
No volcano cannons, the Warbringer.
The Warbringer.
Yep. The engine killer coming in clutch there. Really, it's been doing really well. Really happy with its performance in the game.
We were talking during that round how this particular setup, with it being lengthways, has meant that the long range of the Titans has really come into its own, and that guy has been, well, he's just been unstoppable. Really, he's been
hasn't moved all game, just been first firing, just dropping templates and volcano cannon shots.
There's not
everywhere.
much I can do about it.
And it's not Titanicus, so I don't have to worry about heat. So he's he's pumping out shots. Also one more thing, we need to mark the a moment of silence for the last White Scars unit.
Oh yes.
In the or last White Scars model in the game, getting absolutely vaporized by the Mauler bolt defensive turrets on the Warlord Titan.
He tried for a cheeky
objective grab.
Yeah.
It scared me. The Warlord, however, did not have any of that, and
that's what defensive cannons are for.
And that is what defensive cannons are for. And they, goddamn, did they defend?
Yes, they did. So, still everything to play for as we go into what remains of forces
of the game.
Yeah, we shall see.
Final round 5. Let's see.
I'd say good luck, but I don't want you to have any.
No, exactly. Right. Fuck.
At the start of the final round, Johnny wins the initiative roll-off and begins by moving the Stalker construct back through the gate to the upper central objective, hoping to block the Rhino tanks from contesting it. Alex repositions the Warmaster, hoping to clear a path for the Rhinos. Johnny piles in the Stalker constructs at the bottom right objective. Alex immediately follows this up by moving the Tactical Marines within range of that objective. The last surviving Scintillax HQ marches out of combat onto the bottom middle objective. The Terminators at the wall breach countercharge, seeking to remove the Scintillax from the objective. With Johnny out of activations, Alex moves the Lone Predator out from the wall breach. Then, the pair of Rhinos drift out from the gate, attempting to steal the upper central objective. The pair of Kratos move back towards the gate, and with that, the movement phase ends. The combat phase begins, with the Kratos expending its first fire token, targeting the Scintillax HQ that's currently contesting the upper middle objective. The construct is obliterated by some well-placed las cannon shots. The Legio Tritonis Warbringer Titan is up next, firing its Anvilus defense batteries at the tactical squad threatening the bottom right objective, killing one of the 2 remaining stands. However, the Imperial Fists are resolute, and they pass their morale check, and remaining in place. It then turns its Mori Quake Cannon at the combat at the bottom middle objective. The shot goes wide, and harmlessly detonates against the wall. Next, the Tactical Marines garrisoning the building inside the city fire their missile launchers at the lone Scintillax HQ at the bottom middle objective, destroying the Stalker and getting uncontested access to the objective. The Warlord Titan fires its Apocalypse missile launchers at the lone Rhino, threatening the upper middle objective. The Rhino is atomized. Next, it unleashes its Sun Fury Plasma Annihilator at the Kratos. We begin the engagement stage at the landing pads, with a key engagement to control the bottom right objective. The combined might of the Leviathan Dreadnoughts and Rhino transports managed to destroy one Scintillax HQ and wound 2 others, only losing 1 Rhino in return. Moving to the advancing fire stage, the lone Predator tank fires its las cannons at the Scintillax contesting the bottom right objective, but misses all of its shots. The Warmaster Titan fires its Revelator missile and its turbo laser destructors at the Warlord Titan. Unfortunately, the suzerains are out of range. The Techno-Arcanum of Legio Tritonis proves strong, and the Warlord Titan only loses 1 shield. At the end of the round, the fleeing tactical marines move 10 inches and then rally.
What a turn 5,
Oh,
Johnny.
wow.
There is not much left. There is, every formation broken and decimated by the end of the game. Turn 5 was brutal. There was, a last-ditch hope by some rhinos over here to try and grab Objective D off of you. They were blown away by Titans.
Yep.
You kind of were hoping to sort of take a few off of this objective over here with a blast from your not from your Revelator, from your Mori Quake, but a very, very lucky scatter took it completely off.
Completely off course.
Big move though was when you moved out of combat, I redirected my Leviathans towards the objective at the top, and although the combat ended still stuck in it.
Yep. I got greedy. I think that lost the game right there. I think if I had kept my guys in and locked your Leviathans down, we would be drawn at least at the end of the game. But because you just captured that objective, we're talking exactly double the control score on that objective, and therefore it becomes uncontested for you.
Yeah.
You scored 9 points because it's the one closest to my deployment zone.
That brings the final score to 64-52.
Yeah.
So a big swing in the last round, but the decimated Imperial Fists just hold on to the city and the outer limits and the airport, and
they've got a lot of rebuilding to do. But I hear they love that, I think they're going to be all right. The Titans of Legio Tritonis, completely unscathed, are going to have to slowly creep their way back into the tundra.
Withdrawing.
What
do they call it? A tactical withdrawal.
Tactical withdrawal. I mean, who knows? With the Warmaster there, maybe it sally forths and and tries to hunt them down. But yeah, no, real good game.
Excellent game. Really thoroughly enjoyable. Absolutely anybody's game.
Yeah.
Right up until the end. I think that. I think the thing which possibly won it for me is purely because weight of numbers.
Yes.
When you started losing models, you started losing options, and you started losing activations, and I had the activations to burn, even though that last round I couldn't really do much with a lot of it.
Yeah.
Because of a couple of broken formations, like it was, I could wait for you to do things to then react. So, yeah, very very tight game. Great to see the Dark Mechanicum out again, exactly. Yeah. And who knows, hopefully you guys will see this and this will be
we've made it to the end.
We have made it to the end.
So guys, clap, give us a thumbs up in the comments. We've actually managed it.
How much how good this is depends on what you do in post.
I was going to say there's going to be a lot of post work, so we'll see whether I've still got the magic touch. But you know what, we released solid bat reps in my tiny little summer house, and people seem to like those, and it's only going to be better with the tools and equipment and space that we have all these years later. with all thanks to our supporters, especially our Patreon members, but even just those that like and subscribe on YouTube, follow us on our other podcast platforms as well. It makes such a huge difference. It allows us to do crazy stuff like this. A lot of the terrain on this board here was recently acquired. Again, all thanks to the funds we get from Patreon. Yeah, it's great fun. I am looking forward to doing.
Please let us know what you
more.
think in the comments as well with regards to the format. This is very much kind of a. I know we've done battle reps before, but this is our like first go at this format, and we are starting off sort of slowly.
Yeah.
With room to kind of see what works and how to kind of change and up this in the future.
Exactly.
But it's been a lot of fun recording this again, and I hope that we can do it again soon.